I always ask my guests about this. How would you define success?
Doing what you want when you want.
Ding, 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 ding. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Real Hustle Show with Marlou Merilles, where excuses gets crushed, 9 to 5 mindset gets broken, and we only talk real business, real moves, and real money. This show is all about the grind, the growth, and the glory. And for today's episode, we have a special guest. This guy drove, I think you drove, right?
Yeah.
Drove all the way from BC just to be on this show. Just kidding. But yeah, he's doing some stuff here in Winnipeg. This guy has been a sophisticated real estate investor for 20 years. Regardless of the strategy, he loves the art of the deal, especially getting a lot done for as little input as possible. He believes the best deals are where everyone walks away with something they wanted, creating a win-win-win scenario. He's been transacted on a house with a bag of pierogies, earning him a spot on the cover of Canadian Real Estate Wealth magazine. Jon Simcoe, my brother.
Oh, good to see you, my brother.
Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for stopping by. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a few years since we seen each other.
Yeah.
I know you've been out in BC, but I know we didn't connect.
Yeah. You were here, what, a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Right? We went to Jollibee.
Yeah, we did go to Jollibee. I owed Marlou a lunch. He did a big favor for me, and I was super appreciative. So I also said I'll owe you lunch, and I think your boy was with you too.
No, it was just us.
Not
two.
that time. Well, I was going to include him if he wanted lunch too. If you guys still want to go out for lunch, we'll do it.
Yeah.
later.
So, brother, before anything else, tell the people that are watching who you are in your quick story. Just quick story.
Real quick, I have had quite a lot of jobs. I sometimes feel like that Mike Rowe guy, dirty jobs. He's done all these different things.
Dirty jobs.
Yeah, and I have done some dirty jobs over the years, but I've always been an entrepreneur. I started with a martial art club. It was just something I enjoyed and loved. And so it was a passion business, but I did that when I was in university studying architecture. And this passion business took off. It doubled every time I opened more nights of the week available for lessons. They sold out every single time for 5 straight years. And so the business doubled, and it was fun, but it actually became a good income to the point where I was actually making about the same as the architect would with the full-fledged. Yeah, and I just said, well, I should do something I love. I wasn't loving architecture, so I made that change. And then after I got out of university, I went and bought my first rental property against the advice of my father, and still did it. Took a lot of risks, like no building inspection, didn't know what I was doing. I knew it was undervalued, and I knew the streets were going to get fixed up there in the next couple of years with the city plan. I just thought, okay, I didn't really know anything, didn't read books, and just jumped in with 2 feet. It worked out really well in the end, but I wasn't sure, but I really liked it. So I changed my entire course of life and went to Fort McMurray. I was there for 13 years. 7 of them I worked in the oil sands because I thought I needed a really high-paying job, which they do pay high. They do pay good. There's some great employers out there. And they were really good to me. And so I did that for 7 years, saving 80% of my money, being very disciplined, because I thought I needed to save up money to buy more houses.
Right.
And I was going to be the workhorse behind it. And I also was consuming lots of educational products. Going to seminars, reading books. At that time, I discovered Amazon, because this is remember, I've been doing this 20 years. This is my start.
I was probably 10 years old when he started.
Amazon was just kind of it was already out there and popular.
I'm Elijah's age when you started. Okay, I'm not telling them how old you are.
and so yeah, it was. I spent a lot of time, and I had the resources to buy coaching programs and stuff, things that would cost cost like 10 or 12 grand, but also buy courses that are like 1 or 2 grand, or books, and surround myself around and go to these events where I could be with people who are doing it. And so I did a lot of that during those 7 years, and I learned how to raise capital. I went through a whole bunch of different types of deals and real estate deals. Like when it comes to all different kinds of strategies, the reason I used to say I'm a professional real estate investor, which I still am, which means you'll be treated professionally, all act professionally, and we're going to look and analyze our data professionally. And so I'm still professional, but I add the word, I change it to sophisticated, because of what a real sophisticated real estate investor is not a one-trick pony.
Yes, sir.
So many people, like right now, real estate can be a bit slow in today's current environment. Even though rates are low, there should be some buyers.
Right?
And
It's weird.
Yeah, it is a little weird,
It's
and
weird.
people are uncertain. There's a lot of things going on politically, which we're not going to get into, but they're all going on.
Yeah.
Maybe people are scared, maybe they don't have money, but either way, things are a little weird right now. And so a lot of people are not doing anything. And so a sophisticated real estate, anyone can make money by jumping in when the market's doing well. Like that first deal of mine, I jumped in. It did well. 3 years later, the market raised in value. I had rented it out after fixing it, and I sold it, and I bought my Porsche, which I still have, and like paid it in full, and didn't realize at that fairly young age just what a feat that was. I did it on my own, but that was just because I got lucky, because the market appreciated and I sold.
Yeah. So take me back to, sorry to cut you off, because you're going deep, man. I like it. But when you started in real estate, obviously you mentioned that your father did not approve you to buy it. Can you tell me about that story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had who became a good friend of mine, but I only knew him a little bit. And so I had a friend, and he seemed very business minded, good brain on his shoulders. And I had a good job at the time, had a city job at the city of Winnipeg. And so he saw that I had the ability to get a mortgage. So actually my first deal, I didn't even put a down payment down on it. He put the down payment because
you guys
he was
do a
self-employed.
JV?
We did a JV 50-50.
Joint ventures. Okay.
You get your, this is a cheap property. He put $7,500 down.
$7,500. Back in when?
2004.
2004. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cheap.
And not even in the worst neighborhood either. To be honest with you, it was a half decent spot.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in the Kildonan area.
Okay.
But the smaller places, but not the smallest.
Yeah.
And so we had decided we'd do a JV. We looked at this house. We found out the backstory of it. It was a military guy who got transferred. I don't know why these guys buy houses, but so he got transferred. He needed to sell. We knew it was worth about 120. We were getting it for 105. Okay. And we jumped in and got it. 5% down, bought the house. Okay. Now, before buying it, I wanted to get my father's approval because as a young man myself, and I just didn't know much about houses, and I knew that he owned a house.
Right.
So why not ask someone I admire and respect and ask his opinion? And
he said no.
Well, yeah, we went to the house and I showed it to him. I mean, it had aluminum siding. It still does to this day. I drove by it like 2 years ago remember. I like, that's my start. And it still looks pretty good. They added a nice stone sidewalk, and otherwise it's the same. And the yard is nicely cut and kept, and whoever lives there. And so I remember my big selling thing to my dad was I pulled up the carpet in the living room.
It's hardwood floor.
Hardwood floor. And he looked at me and he said, son, if you get yourself in a mess, I'm not helping you out with this.
Oh, wow.
I've supported you and helped you in many ways, not necessarily always financially, but like in spirit. We weren't like wealthy or extra that weren't there. I mean, we had a good upbringing.
Yeah.
And so he just said, I'm not helping you out in this mess. And I had a couple thoughts in my mind. And one of them was, I'm young enough and I work hard already, really hard. And I could fix a mess by working hard if I really found myself in a mess. I could get myself out of the mess.
Right.
But it also feels right to do this because I'd been thinking for several years about getting a rental property or something like that. And I had a few people I knew with them. And I just like, I'm going to work on my rental this week. And I thought,
it's a cool thing, eh?
I was like, yeah, it would seem really cool.
All right.
And I said, man, do you need help? Like, no, I'm good. Oh, come on. I want to be around these people, right? And learn what I can. But I decided I would go ahead with it anyways. Swallowed it all. And it also didn't hurt that after I got out of college, I'd gotten rid of a 3-bedroom apartment. There was only 2 of us in it, so it was going to cost me quite a bit. And that first summer, I actually paid off all my student debt too.
Wow.
Because I had a little bit. I worked very hard to have minimal student debt, but I still had it when I got out. Even with the Taekwondo club, I still had the student debt.
Okay.
But I paid it off that first summer, but I actually moved back into my parents' basement, which was not fun as an adult who would go out, meet girls, and so it was not fun back in the parents' basement. So I also was motivated to move out. I paid them rent when I was there, but it just lifestyle-wise was not like, it only lasted a few months. And so I thought, this house is also where I could go.
Okay, so you bought it with your JV partner.
Yep.
Okay, how long did you guys own that?
3 years.
3 years.
And the funny thing is when we bought it, the payments on the house were $750 a month, $750. And he lived in it, I lived in it, and we rented 3 other spaces out in the house.
Just the bedrooms.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And we got $300 per bedroom.
Wow.
We lived there and made $150 a month cash flow.
Oh, wow.
And then we did the demolition ourselves, some of the work ourselves on the property, and then he had a guy we could pay who was very good, but also pay him cash and get a good deal on it, and have him finish the house up.
Yeah. So when you were talking about your Taekwondo, was that before the real estate? Or that was during?
That was before and during the first one.
Oh, I see.
And
so your Taekwondo was your first business?
Yes, the first real business I had. I was 19.
How did you get that started?
Well, I had my own Taekwondo instructor in the community, and essentially he was going to be retiring. And he said, there's a gap in the market. I'll help you out a little bit. I want to see these lessons still go on because it's good for the community. The kids love it. A lot of their parents do it with them. It's good for a family. It's good for discipline.
Yeah.
There's so many benefits.
Why do you think that's good for a young adult or a young...
I think it's very good because it instills good values. Everything Taekwondo is about, on top of the self-defense, is courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and an indomitable spirit. And through your training, you develop that further. Those words get deeper meaning to each person the further they go. And essentially, it's to make people good in their communities and to have that type of self-control over themselves. And that type of discipline is what allowed me to save that money for that 7-year period. 80% of my wages saved.
Wow. That's amazing.
For 7 years.
7 years.
I made a 7-year plan. It included buying a car, which was the Porsche, which was paid in full. That was my plan. I was in my 20s, okay? Just figured I could have some good times with that. But it was one car. Don't get carried away. And it was a trip each year somewhere to make sure that I'm not going insane and stir crazy with all the work I'm doing.
So the Taekwondo kind of built you.
But I was disciplined and focused.
Yeah, discipline and focus is what we really want. As a person, as
regardless if you're doing real estate or not,
right,
those attributes will take anyone far.
Yeah, because a lot of people, especially in the Filipino community, when they get money, and I myself, I was like that when I was making money when I started working, was to kind of look cool and buy things that I think I look cool and people think that I have money. Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, discipline is very important, especially if you want to start a business and whatever you want to do with your life, because
you have
the things that you don't like, the things that will make you successful are the things that you shouldn't do. Right. Drinking every weekend.
That's right.
Smoking.
That'll hold you back.
Right. And then going out with friends, buying things that it's not even worth it after all. Right.
Especially like buying things that are not of value.
Exactly.
That value thing, figuring out where you find value in something is really important. So I've never been and still am not the type of person who just goes buy something cheap I don't get a buzz out of it. I actually don't like going to stores. I don't like waiting in the lines. I go there as a necessity. And like,
Me too.
if
I just go when we go to the mall. I ask April, what are we gonna take? What are we gonna buy? And what else? So if we go, okay, we're gonna buy shoes for the kids. Go to the shoe store, get out, and go.
Yeah.
Or just don't take me. You guys can take forever to the store,
yeah,
right?
that too. Yeah.
You know, because
it takes time.
honestly, mall is a waste of time.
I think overall.
For my opinion. You know what I mean? Going to the mall is a waste of time.
I don't really, well, I never just go.
I mean,
as something to do.
I mean, if you have kids, it's sometimes good to, obviously, especially in Winnipeg, if it's cold outside, you got nowhere to go, but else to go to the mall, walk around with the kids, right? With the family.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it aimlessly.
Yeah. Not like regular basis, every weekend you go to the mall.
And if you're gonna spend money on something, and it's maybe different with kids where they're growing, because
Right.
like quality, you don't need it to last forever because they're not going to be that size forever.
Correct.
But let's just say you're going to buy a hammer and you're starting whatever you're doing with it, and you buy the cheapest hammer you can because you just need a hammer to get by, and it lasts for like 6 months and it breaks. Well, I'll never. And then they just go buy another cheap hammer because what they need, and this is just could be used as a metaphor too for anything. But another cheap hammer gets them by another 6 months. Another cheap hammer. Or spend a year and a half or 2 years worth of cheap hammers on a good hammer, and it lasts a lifetime. So if you're shopping for something, get quality and plan to keep it for a long time. I spend a lot of money on my computer. I have always been into computer stuff, but I only spend a lot of money once. I'm on the same computer for the last 7 years. My last one lasted 8, but it was a maxed out. I invested in it. I don't want to move my files, get another system, deal with. I just want to keep it going good. Would it be nice to have a little faster one? Sure. But is mine still pretty fast? Yeah.
Still works, right?
It's still pretty fast.
When you started that taekwondo, what made you do it?
It was
because you were attending the taekwondo.
Yeah, I was attending it, and I had achieved a 2nd degree black belt at that time.
Oh, don't fuck around with this guy.
I must use my power for good. Never instigate.
Right? You would think though, right? Because if you have all the skills and you're like, man, I could. If you look at this one guy at the bar, I'm like, I could kick this guy's ass.
I really don't go looking for it, but it has come in handy a few times.
That's what people say. Like, if you're a professional martial arts or boxer, they don't look for troubles.
No, there's no need to show off.
Right. That's what it helps you with the discipline.
I had an altercation once, and I won't go into too many details, but essentially, guy got up from the table, threw it aside, and came at me with his fists. Not real estate deal related or anything like that.
Right.
But he was upset on drugs and a lot of things. Yeah. So, anyways, he comes at me, and it's like the Matrix. I'm dodging his moves. I found out he was actually in the military beforehand, and I'm just dodging them, and I give him a real quick pow, and then he backs up, and he's got some other people, and they all leave, right? They've made a scene in this restaurant by throwing this table. And then the police are called, and we give our statements, and he attacked me. And I said, well, are you going to charge him with something? They said, well, did he hurt you? I said, well, no, he didn't hit me. I moved out of the way each time. Yeah. They said, well, we can't do anything about that then.
Right, exactly.
So, I didn't get hurt, but again, like, that was what happened.
You got him. Boom.
Boom.
Yeah. So what got you started doing that business?
It was just the fact that the community needed the service. Okay. And if I was in rural Manitoba, like grew up in Oakbank.
Okay. Yeah.
And my Taekwondo club was even further out close by Cooks Creek.
Oh, wow.
And so if you were either in hockey or you didn't do anything. And so there wasn't a lot of options for kids, and hockey can be expensive. Not every kid likes hockey. I did hockey for 3 years. It wasn't my thing, and that's what put me in Taekwondo at a young age, and I loved it. So if there wasn't hockey, there wasn't anything else for the kids to do. So when I opened my club, it was instantly busy. And we shared our rent with a dance studio in the first location because we outgrew the first location. Yeah. But we shared our nights and our rent. And we had mirrors on the walls, which made the club like pretty awesome. That you can see yourself doing your moves, which helps.
Yeah.
And then over time, we wanted more nights of the week, and the dance club was growing too. They were having the same success, and they wanted more nights of the week. And so we left and opened in Dugald, which is a busier area. It is closer to the city, but we didn't get city. We didn't attract city people business, but we were right across from the Dugald Elementary School and from the Dugald Junior High School, and our building was attached to a daycare. And so kids could stay at the daycare after school, come to the Taekwondo club, then get picked up by their parents and go home after their lesson. And that building was 4 times the size, and I was very nervous because I was going to think about combining 2 nights of people to fill my room, which still wouldn't fill my room, and I'd need new people. And I put the ads up, and it exploded again. We had 4 times the space.
Wow.
And then after that, I started offering more nights of the week. And as the business grew, my own students were becoming black belts, and they got tested at other places. I wasn't just giving them black belts.
You were giving the belt.
I was teaching them, and then the final black belt test was examiners were brought in. I brought in examiners to come in to do the black belt
test. That's how it is in.
You should be 2 levels above to give that below. So if I was 2nd degree, I should be a 3rd degree to give what would be a 1st degree black belt. And I brought in some 4th and 5th degrees, and I believe that 5th degree became a 6th, which is very rare, especially like probably the highest ranking guy in Winnipeg, right? Older to get.
How long did you run that business?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Did you make a lot of money?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we also, when we moved to the bigger location, our rent was higher, so we raised prices by 70% on everybody, and they all still paid it and came. Yeah. Yeah. And then you get to charge a bit of money for the belts, and when they do a promotion test, so there's a little bit. Mostly the belt money that came in all went back into equipment for the club. So when the dues came in, I thought it was pretty much a fail-proof business, or wouldn't fail. The reason I took the risk on it, I should say, my risk analysis, even at that young age, was I love doing this anyways. I'm going to do Taekwondo whether there's people here or not. So I'm already doing it.
Right.
And then the math works out at either location. You need about 6 or 7 students to pay the rent. It's not that much.
Right.
And the rest is profit for time. So I would either send some of that money to the instructors or keep the rest for myself. And I had a business partner as well. And then essentially the only reason that business stopped is he went to Fort McMurray, and I kept running the club and had more instructors teaching, so it filled in for his gap.
Yeah.
And we're still very good friends to this day. And he went to Fort McMurray, and then a year later came back and told me and all my other friends about it. And I just thought, I got to get out there. So
it was him that got
he
you there.
called me out. He said, I'll show you where to apply. So I went there. I did a bunch of safety courses. I put my resume around town, and I came back to Winnipeg, and I waited.
I see. Okay. So then after 5 years, you kind of started the real estate journey on that time.
Yeah. And then so when he came back from Fort McMurray, his name's Jeff. I said, Jeff, look at the club, because he came for a workout. All the kids remember him. They love him. Right.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, Jeff's here. I said, look, Jeff, I doubled the club's size while you're gone.
Right.
And then I brought him to my property. I said, look, Jeff, just like I said, I got the property. And he said, wow, you did everything you said you were going to do. You've achieved your goals, John. I said, yeah, I did. I'm like very proud. And then showing him. And because we had talked about getting a rental property together too.
Right.
So I was like, I did that, but with somebody else.
I see.
And he said, that's great success. He said, I want to show you something. This is my paycheck. And he put his paycheck down, and me and all my friends who saw it, our jaws dropped.
Wow.
And then he
big
said,
money.
It was big money, quite big money.
Okay.
And then he said, this is paid to me weekly.
Weekly?
Not bi-weekly. And like weeks later, I was driving up there to do the safety courses.
Wow.
Yeah, it changed it. It is different because
Can you give a little bit of
Yeah.
amount?
The first year I went up there, I made,
Well, that what he showed you.
I think it was like between like 2,800 and 3,600.
Weekly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Depending,
So let's say
because they have a
making
little shift
25
rotation, so there's sometimes
weekly.
some days they don't get paid, right?
Right. So let's say average 25 weekly.
More.
More.
Yeah.
So let's say 25
Probably
weekly.
28 weekly would be the average when you're up
that's
there, and maybe
crazy.
more, and could be a bit less if you're.
It's like 10 grand and you make it a month, maybe like
Oh, yeah.
13. And this is back
Yeah.
in what,
2025, 2020, or 2006,
2006.
2006.
Wow, that's a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
And that's why you closed down the business.
Yeah.
And then you went to...
I said, I'm out of here. I
Yeah.
actually had another instructor take over the business, and he ran it into the ground. That is
see.
actually what happened. He drove away. His ego got in the way. He thought he was very important. Everyone should listen to him because he's automatically been given this position of being in charge.
Right.
And a lot of people fail to understand that when you're in charge, just because it's your decision, your job is to serve.
Yes.
It is
to be the
not to
leader.
be the boss and push people
leader
around.
and the boss is different.
Very different. You
Very
must
different.
serve the community to
Yeah.
have that position. That's how that works. And he didn't, and he drove the community away. I tried to call him lots to save it, and got called by the parents and things. And when he finally called me, he says, I don't think I can pay the rent. I said, well, how many students you got? He says, 2. I said, no, you can't pay the rent.
Oh my God, just 2.
Drove it right away.
Wow.
I said, what about this one? This guy loves it. How come he's not coming anymore?
Right.
Right?
Wow.
This guy's close to his black belt. He's been this little prodigy going through our lessons. He's not coming anymore. He loves it. No, he's not coming anymore.
Damn.
So there's a lesson there. And although that was no longer my business, when you say you put your blood and sweat and tears into a business, that I bled for real. I sweat for real, and I cried for real.
Wow. That sucks.
Well, it's the way it goes, and
Well, that's good.
unfortunately,
You found something new.
the
It's like a
community,
mine,
the
eh?
community loses an asset, which is a
Right.
shame. But life has to move on, and you have to follow your path.
So how was that transition between being a business owner in Winnipeg and then going to work for somebody else after?
Well, I did have still a job when I was in Winnipeg the whole time too.
So you're doing both.
So I'm business and
So
job,
taekwondo
and I'm
was
not
a side
even
job.
sure. Yeah, and
side
taekwondo in the
business.
evenings, and a job, and the rental, and everything going on at once. And at the
Wow.
time,
See, I mean, I had a couple of guests here before you, and every single person, when what they said was, they started their side job or their side business and become their full time.
yeah, that's
There's no excuse. What's really important is what you do after your 9 to 5 is what you do at your 5 to 9, even 5 to 10, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So
I spent so many times, not only while I was saving that 80% of my oil sand wages, I spent my free time reading books about real estate, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Eventually, I owned a restaurant with Robert Kiyosaki in my life as one of our deals. But
Yeah, I remember that story.
it was,
Yeah.
and it was good. And but like, I didn't know the cash flow quadrant, and I'm gonna just assume most people are familiar with it. But essentially, there's 4 ways people can make their money. They can be an employee and have a job and get a paycheck. That's
Yeah.
the easiest. When you leave work, typically you don't have more responsibilities. A lot of people like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes and that's for certain people. Not everyone's meant to be a businessman.
Exactly, yeah.
You just got to figure out where you're happy being.
right.
You can be self-employed, a doctor, a mechanic, stuff like that. You can be a business owner. And so what that means is you own systems, whether it's employees and some procedures they follow, like in a restaurant, they might be following a recipe to make a dish. But there's business. So a business owner owns the systems. He might have to work the systems to get it going, but when he has the systems running, that could be also with computers, make that a lot easier too.
Yeah.
And
AI now, you can make that business easier.
Way easier, way easier. I need to get faster at learning that. And then you can be an I, which is an investor, which means your money works for you, and that means passively, not just actively. So a lot of people want to try and get to that I investor quadrant. And when I first went to the oil sands, I had read and learned that, and I thought I could go from E down to I, just go across it.
Right.
Just by being a powerhouse and working hard and saving and putting money to work. But I actually learned that myself personally, I don't love being an employee. I like being in business. Even if I make less money, I love being a businessman or an entrepreneur. So for me, leaving my heart wasn't in the oil sands despite it being good. And my real estate investing was taking off.
Yeah, so the transition wasn't that hard.
No, I was able, I bought a cake for the last day I went to work, an ice cream cake from Dairy Queen, and I brought it in one of those, I guess there'd be like a skip the dishes thing, but it was a Little Caesars freezing thing, and I brought it up there with a bunch of plastic forks and knives, and I gave everyone in my locker room a piece of cake, and it said on it, passive income greater than expenses. Oh. And they looked at it, and most of them were like, what's that mean?
Yeah,
I said, don't worry about it. Enjoy the cake. You won't see me.
Say that again, passive income?
Greater than expenses. I have a picture of the cake. I'll share it with you after this. You can.
What does that mean, though?
What that means is it means passive income is money you don't need to work for. And when you can achieve that, when your income is greater than your expenses, it technically means you can live forever.
Yes.
And so there's many definitions of wealth. Yep. The wealth definition I like to look at the most is if you take your savings and you look at how much money you spend per day, how many days are you going to be able to survive?
Exactly.
And so eventually that whittles away. Most people believe in saving up for their retirement and then cashing it in over time until they pass away and follow the natural course of life.
The rat race.
Yes. And so what we want to do is when our passive income, which means from investing, from loans, from perhaps rents that come in, could be stocks, you might get a dividend. If you're a day trader, that's not passive income. That's active. That's active. Same thing if you're a house flipper, that's active. Yeah. Even if you have a few systems, it's still active. That could be your business, which is different. But the passive income coming in is from that. And so I had enough coming in, which actually looking back on it wasn't lots, but I've always been debt adverse. And so my expenses have always been minimal. And by controlling my expenses, not getting into debt, not like paying your credit card balance off to zero every month, even if it's painful for you, don't carry that. Because a lot of those are like 20-30% interest. And I think, would you like to earn 20 or 30% on your money?
My money, yes, sir.
I sure don't want to lose 20 or 30% on my money. So
even 10% is good return.
Oh God, yeah, I think so too. I'm just using a credit card as like, stay out of that. And usually your own...
I mean, credit card is good if you're building credit.
Yeah.
Credit score, right? But don't spend the money that you don't even have.
Yeah, don't spend what you don't have.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we're at Port McMurray now. So you did the oil rig. Is it an oil rig?
Oil sands. It's a little different. The rigs, it's liquid that they drill.
Yeah.
The oil sands is actually a bituminous sand that actually has oil stuck to it, and they put it through a little process with some hot water and a cycle, and it breaks off the oil, and then they're able to
they collect the oil.
And then the oil floats to the top of the water. This is all inside the plants. Floats to the top of the water. The sand sinks to the bottom. They put the sand back in the ground, and they harvest the oil. And then they put the ground back.
They must have made billions of dollars in that industry, eh?
Yeah, it's definitely its own machine, like that.
That thing that has like a lever, right? That's the one.
Yeah, it's well, it's a big. The what I did when I was there is I just operated equipment.
Ah, okay,
'Cause
but like those ones that goes like this outside.
oh, like the pumping up
Yeah,
and
yeah,
down?
yeah.
No, it's not like
Is
that.
that like that?
No,
Okay,
and
okay.
that's
That's what I thought.
what that is. That's a pump jack. You see them
Okay.
when you drive through Alberta a lot
Right.
of the time.
Yes.
And you could actually classify a pump jack if you're a farmer.
No way.
And you own land.
And it has
You
oil?
can lease out some of the resources, and an oil company will come and pay for the pump jack and pump, and you can earn passive income off them maintaining and looking after that pump. So that is just a different way. I don't have farmland like that, but
Right.
that is how some people earn their passive income. It's just another way to make passive income.
So Fort McMurray, you started. How long did you work at that job before you started your venture to the RTO, which is the rent to own
The
business?
rent to own, I think I was about 3 to 4 years into that.
Before you
job.
started.
Before, yeah.
But like before you started the rent to own, you were already investing in yourself, trying to learn more about real estate.
Oh, for sure. I spent years investing in myself. That's a good story because it's where a switch suddenly flipped for
Yeah.
me. And I think, and I actually have some advice to give to a young man that I know too. He's at this stage. And so at the time I was doing things. I was flipping some cars in Winnipeg with the money I made with a friend of mine, being more passive, but making decisions on what we buy. He fixes it. And that worked. We did a little bit of that. And so there was little things like that going on. But what really flipped the switch is I spent so much time reading these books and I took notes, like really good notes. I studied it. I immediately left architecture and considered myself studying money at that point.
Yes.
So I just changed my focus, but I was still focused.
Yes.
So that was my time. When I rode the bus into work was an hour long, and the bus ride was another hour long backs.
This is in Fort
McMurray.
Okay.
And I read everyone slept on the bus. I read my books and took notes.
No excuses.
This is after a 12, 13-hour workday. And sometimes the next day you wake up and you're tired and you got to ride the bus to work in the morning, and I'm doing it.
You're still reading.
And then on my breaks, I would do it as well. We got 3 20-minute breaks.
You know, a funny story, when I was starting in real estate.
Yeah, tell it.
I was starting to read books because in my old job, it was a pretty chill job where I'm located, what I was doing, right? There's other jobs that it needs your physical and mental work, right? So for me, it needs a little bit of physical, but I only have to do it once every hour. So before I started dabbling in real estate, I would just watch YouTube, movies, Facebook, whatever, wasting your time just to get by, right? And anyway, so when I started reading books, there was a guy who came up to me, and then he said, "What are you reading there?" Because I was reading something about real estate. Not Money People Deal, but there's another book.
Probably lots of them that have money in the title.
yeah. But I think it's part of Robert Kiyosaki's book too.
Guide to Investing.
I'll find it. There's another one, but it says money, something about real estate. And then he was walking around. I was just at the back, and then he's like, "What are you reading there?" I'm like, "It's about money. It's about real estate." He's like, he looked at me. He's like, "Real estate? You're never gonna make money off real estate." I'm like, "Are you nuts?" I was like, watch me. I'll make money in real estate." So before I quit my job, he was on my shift, and then he saw me. Obviously, I was posting on my social, right? So when April gave birth to our youngest, I took the parental leave, right? And then
I remember that period of time. I remember seeing you working hard.
Yeah. So when I was leaving for my parental, I go to him and I said, "Hey, remember when you told me I wasn't gonna make money in real estate?" guess what? I'm never coming back.
Yes.
So he looked at me and smiled, and then I just left.
It's
And
nice
I
to
never
have-
came
nice
back.
to have his
I took a
blessing.
year off at work, which
Exactly.
I think the best decision that we did, because I took all the parental leave for a year, and then I kind of made my focus to be focused on the business more. And then because you never know, right? Because I was ready to quit right before the market shift on 2022, because in January I told April, I think by summertime I'm done, and then February we found out we were pregnant. So I was like, oh shoot, there's another baby coming, right? So I was like, okay, I gotta work harder even more. So then February, March, April, I was like, yeah, I'm still quitting in June. I told April I'm still quitting in June. And then she goes back to me and said, you know what? I'm giving birth in September, supposedly. Why don't you just suck it up until September?
Not much further. Yeah.
Right?
Like that's
Like
smart.
3
Smart
months.
with a family to provide
Yeah,
for.
3 months more, and then you could use all the parental leave, because she doesn't work. When my second born was came out, she never went back to her job. So then she's like, you could take all the parental leave, and then if the business doesn't work out, you could always go back. I'm like, that's why you're my wife. So I did that, but then she gave birth earlier in August, which it was good, and then I went off work a month earlier than I expected to, and then after a year, July, I was ready to go back to work, but I was like, I don't think I could step another minute in that job.
I know it's, and I remember too, because sometimes if your truck's broke down and stuff, or your equipment, you get put in these different shacks, because
Yeah.
it's it's the middle of nowhere, but they have these shacks with microwaves and toilets and stuff. So they're okay places to hang out. You get paid to sit.
You're right.
And so I pull my book out.
That's
and
right.
Everyone
See?
starts
No
seeing.
excuses.
Everyone's seeing me read my book. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And this is the funny thing. So a lot of people would go looking for like investors or private lenders, more or less.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, go to the dentist and doctor conventions because those guys have money.
Yeah.
So there is always a bunch of booths and things that are about investment.
Right.
And I had a mentor of mine telling me that's what he did, and then he found the teachers were cheap and other things like that from going to these different places they have their own teacher's pension. They're not interested in what you're teaching or what you're selling. And but anyways, I then considered myself, if I'm making like a couple $100,000 a year at that point, everyone around me is doing that. And I know the people who make a little more, and depending on how much overtime they work or not, we're all in this ballpark of the top income earners in Canada.
Yeah.
We're all in the bottom of the top 1%
Yeah.
at that time. I looked at the demographics, and I then realized every day I go to work, that's my doctor convention. That's my dentist convention. And these people do have extra money and are looking for things. So I did try to put some deals together, and I did use my credit to buy more real estate and use my own money for down payments, and ran out of that and had to go find more money. And
But
most of them didn't trust me at that time because I'm just
so
reading
go back
the
to
books.
the first deal when you started doing the deal in Port McMurray. Oh, by the way, this is the book that I was reading. I took a
OPM.
page.
Oh, yes.
yeah.
That's a great book. OPM
Yeah,
by
so
Robert
he saw
Kiyosaki.
me reading this. I'm like, he's like, what is that for? I'm like, it's for real estate. It's like,
Yeah.
oh. I was like, okay. Going back to your first deal in Fort McMurray.
Well,
I know
the first Fort McMurray deal was a rent to own.
Right. So
And-
tell people what rent to own is all about.
So in rent to own, there's many ways to do it, and
Yeah.
you have a lot of options with rent to own. Lots of options.
Tell them the most basic.
So the basic,
they
the way that
understand it.
everyone, and I just want you guys to know this field goes very deep, and
Yeah.
I'm still learning new stuff all the time.
Like I said, I've been telling them, real estate has many avenues you can make money.
It's so true. I love that
It's like
aspect of it.
20 or 30 avenues you can make money.
The
off this
typical
real estate.
way, the most basic way a rent to own works, and the first way I would teach it to someone is what's called tenant first, or like a buyer first strategy. So you go and you find there's a screening method and screening techniques to make sure that you have a good chance of success with this person. You can't just let anyone who's credit challenged or can't get a mortgage, that's who's coming to do a rent to own. They can't get a mortgage for one reason or another.
So you find the person who wants to buy.
The best possible buyer first.
Yeah, the person who wants to buy a house that they cannot get approved with the mortgage.
There's many reasons they might not be able to get the mortgage, but whatever the reason is, it needs to be fixable.
Yeah. So what's the next step?
And so then after we've determined that we can work with them, then what we do is we send them out with a realtor. This is the most basic way. Send them out with a realtor, have them pick 2 or 3 of the homes that they like best, make sure it's in the right price range and all of that stuff like that. They pick the 2 or 3 they like best. You negotiate on them. You pick the deal that is going to be good for you financially, and they will go in that house. Typically, they have agreed to buy the house from you at a prearranged higher price.
Okay.
So
give an example. So let's say the number example.
So here's the most basic, simplest. Let's just say they go out house shopping, and I like to use $100,000 because you can scale it. If you're in another market where homes are $500,000, just put a 5 on there.
Yeah.
If you're in a market where homes are $800,000, put an 8.
Yeah.
Right. But I like to use $100,000, and you can do your multiplying.
Yeah, it's easier.
So you got a house that's $100,000.
Okay.
And you might be selling it to them for like $125 in 3 years.
Okay.
Actually, let's say 130 for easy maths, but this would be a very profitable deal, I can tell you already. But $100,000, and they're gonna rent it, so it's gonna cover the majority of your costs, and might even make some cash flow, should as well. But you rent it out to those people. You buy the house, you rent it out you buy it for $100,000. You rent it out to them for 3 years. They've already lived there. They've moved in. They've made it their home. Their kids are going to the schools nearby, and they are going to buy the house, uninterrupting the family. It's just going to close in the background. Everyone lives their normal lives. But let's say they're going to buy it for $130,000. So what you can do in those 3 years' time is you can make basically 10% on your money each year. You have $100,000. So the first year it's 110. Next year it's 120. Then it sells at 130 to them. So that's actually a way to make, if you're buying that property 100% cash, all $100,000, that's how you can make 10% return
each year
on your money each year by doing that. And so what I liked about the rent to own is, go on that, but that's basically how the rent to own works.
Okay, so find a buyer who wants to buy the house, who doesn't have the ability to get a mortgage, and then get them to find a house that they like in that neighborhood, if I understand this right, because I know I understand it. And then once they find it, obviously they need to have a down payment.
Yeah.
Right?
They need to have something to put down. It
Correct.
doesn't have to be full, but they need some skin in the game.
And then you kind of fix their credit, whatever, something wrong with their credit that they, for some reason, they cannot get approved. And then after a few years, 3 years is the maximum, right?
Yeah, I really don't like to look at more than 3 years because we want to keep the money moving from one to another.
Because that's long, man. 3 years to get your money stuck in one deal? That's long, man.
It is and it isn't. Because I also, because I have to sometimes negotiate with people for 3 years for myself.
Right.
To be able to sell it as 3 years. That's a different style of rent to own. But 3 years goes by quickly.
I guess so.
It can.
Even 5 years, I was
especially if your money's just coming, all of a sudden 5-year renewal on a rental, like that
Yeah.
went quick. Now, and so 3 years goes by quick, 2 years goes by quick too. And what I don't like doing is I don't like doing them for one. If you can fix your problems in 1 year or less, just wait. Fix your problems, buy your own house. You don't need me.
Right, exactly.
Right? This might be a good deal for me to do, but if the other person doesn't really need you, you have to wonder, why am I doing this?
So when they give the deposit, it comes off the purchase price, correct?
Yeah, let's say they had
So you,
let's say they were self-employed
Yeah.
and they need 10% down to buy the house. So they need $10,000 to buy this $100,000 house. And let's say they come to you with $5,000.
okay.
So you say, okay. So then they'll give you $5,000 right away. And what that's going to do is going to be part of their down payment on the $130,000
I see.
price. So it's going to come off the $130,000 at the end from them.
So it's gonna
but
be
it's going to
125.
also be their down payment. So let's say over time, they save up another $8,000. They have $13,000 there. 3 years. That's not. That's like $330 a month for them to save on top of their rent. And there's ways to. There's more. There's ways to insure it. So you have to make sure that they have an extra $330 every month for 3 years. They will have the $13,000 they need to be their 10% down, and they'll buy the house. So they will end up actually getting a mortgage for $117,000, even though the house is being sold at $130,000.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So it does come off like that. And so that's essentially how it ends up. And then they can live in the house. They could resell it for more.
Yeah,
they
'cause
could, they
by
could
the
do
time
anything they want. It's
the
their
equity
house.
should be there. What is that first deal like when you did the
So
rent to own?
my first rent to own deal, and I never like to say names, but I did have a coworker who saw what I was doing. I had a resignation letter that I had taped to my locker that I looked at every day because I had a quit date in my mind. And I reminded myself, and he had a locker nearby me, and he saw me reading the books. And he was very quiet, not very outspoken. He approached me very quietly on our own privately. I didn't even know the guy, so I want to talk to you for a second. He says, went bankrupt a few years ago. Got my wife and my 2 kids, and we need a house.
Oh wow, it was a
Coworker.
Nice.
So I knew he had a good unionized job with good pay. And I also knew him for several years that he was the kind of guy that didn't cause riffraff at work. He was a dependable guy who you could count to just get the job done without saying much.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's likely going to be able to hold his job and his employment, which is how he's going to buy the house off of me. You always want to have an exit before you start.
Of course.
It helps. Or at least if something changes along the way, you want to have options, like multiple plans. And so he came to me and said, we want this this house for our family. And so I said to him, well, he didn't have a house picked out, but he said, we would like to buy a house. And his reason for bankruptcy is he was from the East Coast.
Okay.
A lot of people go to Fort McMurray to earn good money there. 25% of Fort McMurray is from Newfoundland.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like quite a culture. And so he wanted this house for his family. His reason that he went bankrupt was 2 business partners made poor choices. And his reason for moving to Fort McMurray was to prove to his in-law families, because his in-law family, the family of his wife, all thought he was a loser.
Oh my God.
And he had 2 kids, and he's a good guy, for real.
Yeah.
And I could see that motivated him. And he was like, I'm going to get them a house.
Yeah.
I'm going to prove to my in-laws that things are good and that there's stability in the family. And so I thought, this guy is very motivated. So I screened him, and I wasn't sure, because with a bankruptcy, sometimes you can do a rent own and sometimes you can't. And all the reasons I was told, by my screening person, I took advice from a professional. I wasn't smart enough at that time. I'm pretty good at screening people now. Thousands and thousands of people later, tens of thousands. I maybe screen 100,000 people now. But he checked out. And so the backstory was good. And I thought, okay. And I sent them out looking for a house, just like that first way of doing it. It's a great way to get your feet in the water and try something.
Right.
And if you're not sure if you want to be a landlord or not, try a rent to own, because the exit is built into it. And if you don't like it, don't go get other properties.
Yes.
But at least you can get out. So for him, they went out looking at houses. He loved some, she loved some, but neither of them could agree on a house. Oh. And time went by, and every so many weeks and stuff. And I remember this, it was like a day off. And he calls me. I lived in a condo at the time. And he calls me and he says, John, we found the house we both like.
Oh,
okay. It's a private sale, not on the MLS. But they drove by, saw the for sale sign, and you're like instantly, So this was a little different because we weren't using the realtor. I used the realtor method many other times before, but I did find good deals in off market as well. And they said, we both love this house. This is the one. And I talked with the seller, we negotiated. I don't even remember what kind of deal I got from what they were asking or anything. I got this house for them, and the seller was happy. They weren't going to move into the house for like 7 months or something.
After?
No, like from the sale wasn't going to take place for like 7 months, because the seller was just put their sign out and was seeing they weren't ready to move.
Oh, I see.
And my guy, my rent-own buyer, wasn't ready to, was ready, but he could wait a bit.
Okay.
So what that did is it gave me enough time to put together the money side of things to buy this house, because I still wasn't sure how I was going to do that. I didn't have a network of lenders at the time. Not anywhere near where it's at. Not as like very few. And the idea of asking someone for money was very like not quite. It wasn't cemented in my head like the OPM book. I read it, but I wasn't quite.
Yeah. How do you do that, right?
How do you do that? Yeah. And so I did put it together. I put 20% down, qualified for the mortgage myself with my own credit, and another guy. We got it, and essentially I set up the rent to own deal. It was set up for 24 months.
2 years, okay.
And the guy bought it after 19 months.
Oh, wow.
Now I put some of my own money in. The other guy who was on the mortgage put some money in. And I had another guy who was starting to teach me a little bit about raising capital, and we would raise money for his charities. That was the first million I ever raised, was actually for charity with him, not for real estate. But then I used those skills for real estate after. But him and his father had enough of the rest of the money. Oh, and a woman from Tim Hortons, that's another,
Sorry.
But there was a few people who put little bits of money in. I had enough, and I got it. And when the deal was done and he bought it after 19 months, there was enough for me to pay everybody back. Everybody made 20%. The market was booming, and we had marked up the property a lot more than you see going on right now. And that was the local Fort McMurray market. It was boom times. And so because of the boom times, we marked the property up. Not only did I pay everyone back plus 20%, there was a little over $100,000 left for my business.
Net.
After paying it all. Wow. It was like 101 and change, like 100
That's
grand.
Crazy.
And I thought to myself, I had to wait for 19 months. I had to be patient.
Yeah.
I had to use my discipline. And I put my money out there. And as I waited, how much time did it really take me to make that $100,000 other than waiting? He called me in the morning. I looked at the house that day. I signed a purchase agreement on it that day. And yeah, I did have to figure it out a little bit more later. But essentially, I made 100 grand in one day. It just took me 19 months to collect it.
Yeah.
And that was the big light bulb is I can set enough of these up and have a future income for myself that could surpass the oil sands. Not that that was necessarily my goal, but I liked doing it. I would rather be a self-employed person or a business owner where I'm happy. And this is actually a real path forward. So I could set up enough rent-to-own deals, and not all of them are going to work out. That's a whole other topic. But just know that when you're planning your personal finances around rent-to-owns, that some of them will come through, some of them won't fully, and they won't quite work out. And so you can look into the future, and if you have one, if every month you set up a 3-year long rent-to-own deal, after 3 years, you're going to be getting a paycheck every month for everyone that closes.
Wow.
That's assuming they're all on time, right? And stuff. But as that was my idea, was to be able to have enough future income built in and just be waiting to collect those. And that's what made me comfortable to quit that high-paying job and go do something I really like and love. My own personal income went down quite a bit after I quit that job because I still had to get my business more active and busier because I wasn't doing one every month at that time. I was doing like 3 or 4 in a year, right? So I was really working hard to set myself up for that future. And that was the transition away from
one
working.
deal, 800,000.
But it's what lit up my light bulb.
Right.
And they don't all do that, although I have made more than that in some, and those are all lesser cases. A lot of them 25, 40 grand, 60 grand.
I mean, every deal is going to be different, right?
Every
You're not
market's
always going
different.
to hit the home run.
No.
Actually, hitting bases is more important than hitting the home run.
I agree.
Because the more you hit the bases, the more the chances that you're gonna get the home run and
like
make
that.
money.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, as long as you're rounding the bases, you will get that home
Exactly.
run.
You know.
And I would call that a pretty good home run on the first deal. I mean, we were talking homes in the price range of like 700 and 800 grand here.
Right.
So this, to make the $100,000, this wasn't 100 turns into 200. This, that's still how it was.
Yeah, I mean, in flipping business, like, right? So let's say you were flipping 10 houses, and then 2 of those deals you lost money in it, right? But the other 8 made you 60, 40, 30, sometimes 100. It averaged all out, right? Because you might be down on those 2 deals, but at the end of the year, you still made a lot of money, right? So, guys, you don't have to hit the home run all the time.
No, and the nice thing about it is when you do have some money coming in, don't spend it all right away again, just like that credit card lesson.
Yeah.
But when you do have that money coming in, just know that some of it's going to be needed for a rainy day.
Exactly. Because people nowadays, they don't have rainy days.
You can be hot and you can be doing well and things can change.
Exactly.
And
it's not always on top. You're not always on top, right?
No.
I see.
Who hasn't had a house? And I know you taught me this lesson and I had to learn it the hard way. You don't know this yet.
Oh, wow.
But I'm working on a option flip. And
I taught you something.
You taught me something because we went through a property about 4 years ago here, and you had renovated it and you were trying to sell it and it hadn't sold.
Yeah, the one that I lost $51,000 on.
I know, and you came to me and you said, "What can I do about this?"
Right.
And we walked around it and I said, "Well, I know a lot of guys who get a lot of work done on these properties, and yours, the quality looks really high.
Right.
Like your tradesmen are high." I remember that was one of my first. I said, "The product looks really good, especially compared to some of the other people's places I've been through." But I said, "Your product looks really good." You said, "I know, we spent a lot of money on it." Okay, well, no wonder it looks really good.
Supposed to be 40 to 50 grand. I spent 80 on it.
So share the story of the electrical.
No, because so I bought this house in the West End, and it was a Filipino owners that sold me the house, right? So Filipino to Filipino, you kind of have that, understanding that, okay, he's not trying to fuck me over. But unfortunately, they did. And then when I was there checking it out the first time, I saw a knob and tube, and that's what always scares me nowadays. If I see one, even though it's not attached, I consider it something that it's still there, right? So when I was walking around and I see the knob and tube, I told them, "Hey, can I bring my electrician here because I don't know if that's still active?" They're like, "No, it's not active anymore." Yada yada yada. So I was like, in the back of my head, man, what if it is still active, right? So they gave me a price, and then I said, I need to bring my contractor. He's like, they said, what is gonna take for us to make a deal without you bringing your contractors here? I was like, I need a $5,000 off. So they took it, and then when we got the house at the possession date, we ripped off all the ceiling tile in the basement. The basement was rewired, but the main floor, because it was a bungalow, wasn't rewired. And it cost me freaking $13,000 to do the upstairs.
Wow.
Yeah. So the $5,000 off is not even enough to do the electrical. And
Exactly.
that taught me a lesson that you cannot trust anybody, and
Make
just
your
bring-
decisions on facts. Otherwise,
Exactly.
it's a speculation. And
Yeah, if your guts tells you there's something in there, you might as well trust your guts.
well, we can make our lessons learned, because I have a place that's going to be getting sold pretty soon because we're done the fix-ups on it. I don't always do a lot of deals that require that, but this opportunity came to me, and I got into it for $2. That's a whole other story.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we
$2 down.
Let's talk about.
But in this one here, the guy selling it, and I took over his financing and things. I just paid him $2 as a down payment, so I still have to make payments and put money into fix-ups. But he did electrical work of some type, like in the computer, like calculating and drawing blueprints, and he did his own electrical work in this house. And did nice flooring. He'd half finished his reno and he got job transferred. That's why he made a deal with us. And we were finished the reno and sell the house. And he did some of the work, most of the work on the upstairs himself. It was mostly finished the basement. But really, he did the electrical work himself. And our electrician said, it's a good thing you didn't sell this house because it would have burned down the second a family moved in here.
Wow.
And that we knew we'd have to do electrical in the basement anyways, but just to rewire the upstairs was $8,000.
Bro, it's so much electrical.
And I really thought, again, I thought this guy should be smart enough with electricity to not have it. The electrician's like, this is one of the worst places I've seen. I'm like, oh my God. Well, we have to change it.
Yeah.
It needs to pass building inspection, but we also don't want anyone to get hurt.
Wow. So, on my intro, you did a deal with a pierogies.
Pierogies.
Pierogies. Oh yeah, pierogies is different. Pepperoni was on my mind. So pierogies. Tell me about that story again.
Okay, so and for what it's worth,
So he paid pierogies to close the deal, right?
that was my down payment.
There you go. Tell me the story.
Got
bro.
into it with actually no real money. So this is so what I learned over time was that if you are putting together a rent to own deal, people can sell properties as rent to owns, just like I did to that gentleman that I worked with on my first rent to own deal.
Yeah.
And you can sell a rent to own deal. So what if I wanted to buy a rent to own deal where I'm the buyer?
Right.
And so that changed my approach and how I went to the market. I would look for people who could give me the rent-to-own financing. And then what I would do is mark it up and put it to someone who's going to actually buy it. And I would have in my contracts that would allow me to resell it for more, re-rent it for more, and allow me to do that. So people who want to have like no headaches, but still some of the benefits of property ownership, a lot of those people will be interested in an offer like that. Or someone who wants their property sold in a few years and are okay to wait, especially someone who's like doesn't live in the house themselves.
Yeah.
Then, so a landlord who has multiple properties, he might not want to sell them all at once, triggering a big tax payment. So a lot of people there, I learned of this little market where you can buy as a rent to own and you can sell as a rent to own.
Yeah.
I'd like to think I created some of the market and helped fuel it, but it's out there and it exists.
And some people too, they sometimes just firm with their asking price.
Yeah, as long as they get it, they don't care when.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and if that
This is why rent to
terms
own.
and conditions.
This is why
are
rent to own is
important.
very effective when people are firm with their property or their asking price, but still it's good enough deal for a rent to own to happen, right? Okay, go on with that story.
And so in this story, and there is a video on YouTube, you can go to Jon Simcoe YouTube as well and see it, because this was what got me on the cover of Canadian Real Estate Wealth magazine. I believe it was November of 2018. I have a picture of it. I'll send it to you too. And so what essentially this property came on Christmas Eve. And it comes through one of the marketing methods, like an I buy houses, we buy houses type of marketing. And get a call. Oh no, this one actually came from someone who knew the seller and knew that I was in the market of buying.
Okay.
So this was there was a paid for referral. I remember her, and so anyways, this referral came and she says, these people are retired, they are older. They own this property free and clear. Woo. No mortgage. They don't live in it.
Ching.
And they've been landlords renting this place out for ever since they bought it.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't know how long they really owned it, but they owned it all cash.
Yeah.
Right? And they lived somewhere else.
Okay.
And so the property was sitting there empty on Christmas Eve. It was in West Kelowna, British Columbia. And they had been tired landlords. And in this, now the property was in great condition when I saw it, and they had a renter of theirs just move out not long ago, and that's why they were thinking of selling.
Yeah.
And their renter was good, left the place in good shape, but the renter before that trashed the place, and they fixed it up to the condition that I saw it. So they already went through a nightmare being landlords. I think they maybe owned it for like 6 or 7 or 8 years or something. I don't think they're not seasoned landlords. They're risk adverse by having no mortgage on there. And essentially what they wanted to do was just make sure that the property was taken care of. They wanted to relieve themselves of that headache. They didn't care when it sold. And so at the time, we agreed that I think that the property was worth, now my YouTube channel has the numbers in it, but I think it was about $550 or so at the time. That would be like if a realtor would put their sign in the front yard, full asking price, and then at the time $550.
Okay.
Sellers would ask for a certain amount, like I think the market was giving about a 5% discount at the time. So then you're down to $525. And then you have realtor commissions to pay. So we're down to $500 with the lawyer and all of that. And the place is sitting empty right now, and it's probably not going to rent out for several months. So it seemed like a price of $480 seemed very fair. They were very agreeable. They wouldn't have any maintenance or anything, and I would start paying them money January 1st.
Okay.
The rent for this was $22.50. And I even thought about buying this property myself to live in at the time, because I had just moved to BC at that time and didn't own a place to live in. I was like, oh, this is a great deal.
Yeah.
$550 for $480. But anyways, I decided to do rent to own with it. At $22.50 was paid to them for over 4 months time period.
Did you find a buyer then or not yet?
I marketed for a buyer.
How much did you market it for?
Quite a bit. Well, I marketed it. It gets marketed at the $550, which is today's price.
Okay.
But we have the buyer agree that there's an appreciation rate, because the market was going up at the time historically. Like, look at 3 and 5 year historicals, and does it look like that's going to continue or not? You have to ask yourself that. And so you can appreciate the house, which means selling it to them for a higher price. So we can market it at $550, and I'd have to, again, double check my numbers, but a good number for a lot of places, like 3% appreciation. So that's like another $15,500 every year that the house is going up. So the next year it goes up by that. So it's at 565, 500. Then you take 3% of that, go up for another year. 3% of that gets added on again for another year. Ultimately, they agreed that, yes, the market's going up and it's appreciating, and it might even appreciate faster than the number we're using. Mm-hmm. And so they thought, well, if it appreciates even more than that, they're going to win. And that's okay. You have to let other people walk away with something they want. They want the house, and they don't want to get paid through the teeth for it. Yeah. They don't want to overpay for it, but if they get into it. And so they agreed, I believe it was 607, I believe, was the selling price to them.
And you got it for 480.
480.
Okay. And how did you kind of negotiate that down payment?
The selling price came in the fact that we had agreed to the appreciated amount, and then the guy actually did roofing work, and he looked at the roof and he's like, this place is going to need a new roof in the next 3 years. And he was using that to negotiate, and I believe another $8,000 or $10,000 was but we arrived at that like 607 number. He negotiated a little bit, but off the end price, right? Not the starting price. Yeah. And I believe he had $20,000 to put down. So I thought that's strong enough. And he had a family, 2 kids and a wife, and that was good for me. So he went in the deal, and then what it did is we rented it out for, I believe it was $27.50 a month, or
$20, were you still cash flowing for that?
Yeah,
price? Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were paying $22.50 to the seller.
22. Oh, okay.
$22.50 a month, and I believe we were getting 20. There's no mortgage. They get to just keep that money every month, because when I look at it, they get 480 as their price, but then they get 3 times 3 years, so 36 months times $22.50 a month. So when you add that, they're getting over $550 at the end of the day, which is actually more than the house is worth today. They just got to wait for it.
Right.
So a lot of people might think that 480 price is low, but for a hands-off solution where they did nothing and just got consistent checks in the mail for 3 years and then the house sold, they were more than happy. Mm-hmm. Now, the fact that the house it made really good money. And I did have to put about 20 grand into the marketing and everything like that, and payments to them, which came immediately back. I got the 20 grand back as soon as the buyer moved in. So I put a little bit of money out for a few months. I don't usually do mine that way, but the numbers were that good. I was comfortable to start making payments, and the house was marketable. There was nothing wrong with it. Good neighborhood.
Ready to move in.
Ready to go. Someone wants this. Mm-hmm. And so that was all good. And the only thing that I was into this property for is originally I didn't have all the contracts. We had the option contracts, and you normally have to give someone something. I didn't have any money on me, but because it was Christmas Eve, I was going home with pierogies. I'm half Ukrainian from Winnipeg. Gonna have pierogies on Christmas. It's mandatory. It's not even an option.
Yeah.
And so I had these homemade pierogies, and these people were Polish.
Oh, there you go.
And I said, I don't have anything to give you to firm up this contract. And a lot of the time people put $1 or something, which is what we did on the contract. I think we might have wrote 100 on it, but either way, we wrote but it's not always, like if it's $1, it's not always actually exchanged. People just go ahead with their deal. Mm-hmm. And so I gave them a bag of pierogies as my symbolic $1 down payment.
Make the deal binding.
To make the deal binding and secure it. And they took the pierogies. They were homemade. They were delicious.
That's crazy.
That's what like they really liked that. We had a good rapport going on the whole time. Yeah. They thought it was funny. Yeah. And so did I. And I mean, English wasn't their first language either. We're trying to figure out to, you know, like do some good business together and be honorable.
I mean, rent to own is a bit complicated. It's when you told me about it before, it kind of like confused me a lot of times, and it still does a little bit. But at the end of the day, if there's somebody like Jon Simcoe that's teaching you, it makes it easier. So,
Yeah.
how did you? Because I know you did some coaching from doing your first deal with the rent to own. How did it take you to be the guy who's teaching it after?
So I took some coaching and I did use some of that 100 grand from that first deal to buy these things, right?
Okay, one second here. So you paid a coach as well to teach you what you know, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure that the audience know that you did not create this thing.
No, I actually...
You paid somebody.
I have, because books and courses will only get you so far.
Correct.
And they have value, trust me. I've
I've
gotten my ROI on courses that I bought.
100%.
If I buy it, I'm doing it, I'm going to get something out of it.
Yeah. And you have to take action.
It's the action that changes things, and that's where the coach helps to give you a kick in the butt. For example, I had a rent-own deal before that one that I just told. That one was the first one that worked out.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't set anyone up that failed before that, but I tried setting ones up that didn't go anywhere. And originally, I read a book. It was called Rent to Own Investing by a guy named Mark Loeffler. He's out of Ontario. He doesn't do it anymore. But it was a good book to read at the time. And he gave like a sample of what the contract's supposed to be like to try and help you understand in your head. But just a basic, really basic, like he's like, go see a lawyer. This is not a replacement for that. This is for you to grasp the concepts of everything this book is about. Well, I didn't listen to that. And I went on my computer and I retyped his contract from his book. And I tried doing a deal with another coworker of mine with crappy contracts and no coach and no training, right? And only having read that book and the other books that weren't related to rent to own, but were still related to real estate. And so my knowledge level, I didn't know where I stood. I thought I could do this, and I'm willing to take a chance. But again, I don't know. And we were negotiating on a trailer in Fort McMurray, which is trailers are, there's a lot of reasons to it, but trailers don't make good rent-owns overall. They can be done. I've seen it.
Trailer homes.
Trailer homes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
trailer
to make
homes.
sure. Not the trailer that you connect to your truck.
No, no.
Trailer homes. Okay.
You can rent own anything. But this trailer, this guy had done some fix-ups on it, and one of my other coworkers wanted it. And I got a building inspector in there because I was like, realized how risky I was on my first deal. So I started getting building inspectors all the time. And he found mold in the bathroom that was nicely renovated in this trailer.
Oh, wow.
And he said, this is so bad, you're going to have to chop the whole end of this trailer off and replace it. And that mold, these pieces, when you're demolishing, if you carry them through the trailer, it's going to spread the spores everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I went back to the seller because our contract was subject to building inspection.
Yeah.
I went back to the seller and he didn't believe me that there was mold in his beautiful bathroom that he did himself. You could tell by the way his shower curtain was hanging that the water's just pouring down.
Yeah.
So like, I'm going to trust, and if you can walk with your building inspector, you'll learn a lot. I always try and attend the inspection and watch what they're doing.
They tell you.
They tell you, oh, you fixed this easy. I put it on the report, but this is all you got to do. And those are very useful things. And so that first deal with no coaching, not even a proper course, I backed out of the deal. I said, there's mold, we're out. What also is that guy who I was going to do the deal with smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Oh my.
And he had already had 2 heart attacks.
Oh my goodness.
So I started thinking to myself, and I always wonder, maybe this mold is a blessing in disguise.
That's right.
Because I don't even know if this guy would live for 2 or 3 more years to finish this deal. He's probably going to die. He's overweight. Like, he's already had 2 heart attacks.
Oh my goodness.
Right? And he's just working the oil sands, right? And so I never worked with him. I didn't want to work with him after that. I just said, I've changed my mind. And I worked with the other guy on the house.
Yeah.
Now, at that exact same time, before getting the house I wasn't going to give up on rent to own, but I wasn't sure what to do next. And at that exact moment, a good mentor of mine, he doesn't teach it anymore, but you know who he is.
Yeah, don't mention the name.
No.
Okay.
And but you know who he is, and I was spending a lot of time around him and asking him questions and things, trying to always surround myself around people who are doing it. I always did that the whole time. It's good advice.
Yeah.
And at that time, he comes out with this ad that says rent to own course, like an actual course that included a couple days of live training. And so I immediately bought, I think it was $2,500 at the time. This is like 15 or so years ago. And I took the course and I went, oh my God, that first guy would have been horrible to do things with. That's why I found such a good next guy, is because the course helped me.
Wow.
And then also having that guy call me, did you get your website ready? Are your business cards ready? He's pushing me like a coach.
Yeah.
And he's pushing me. And then what he would do is people who didn't build a website or build a business card, he would sell them the services to build their business card and website. So he'd sell the course. And then if you want your business set up, we can do this much for you.
Nice. Well,
and so that was his business model.
That's awesome.
And I bought some of the stuff from him, but a lot of it I've made my own website.
It's like one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really, like, I really like that. I think it's a good business model. And some people who buy into those things have had tremendous success. Like I did really well. I bought a website from him and a few things, but I made my own business card, and I have you can too. You don't have to buy all that stuff the same way.
You can do it on your own, right?
Yeah, you can do it on your own, but some people will never do it on their own.
So, okay.
And
so
that's
when
where the coach comes in, or the even that do it for you service is not as good as a coach, because you can have a business card, but what good is it if you're not giving it out?
Exactly.
Your coach is going to say, how many networking events did you go to this week? Who did you talk to? Who did you know? Yeah.
So how long did it take you to be the coach after a while?
So after a while,
because
quite a few years. For
the people who's listening, he has his own rent-to-own course, correct?
I have it's actually beyond rent-to-own. It's more than that. It will teach you how to do a rent-to-own, but there are ways...
is there a website where they could check it out right now, or it's down?
JonSimcoe.com.
JonSimcoe.com.
www.jonsimcoe.com.
Check it out.
If it is currently being constructed, so we're like the course is there and it's coming. So, but by the time this comes out, it should be fairly live. We're aiming for before Christmas, and internally, I want about the 12th or 14th of December to have all the kinks worked out and
tell him
good experience.
You found it from the Real Hustle show, so John can give me a little
referral. I don't mind at all. I don't mind
at all.
Right?
That's how.
And the goal is to also help the people who are watching this, because that's what fires me up, is being able to give back to the community the same way the Taekwondo Club gives me that spark. And I always like giving back. And actually, we had a little discussion, if you're okay with me talking about what we talked about just before coming on.
Yeah, sure.
And one of the guys that Marlou and I both know, he was very successful and, okay to say his name?
Yeah.
Stefan Arnio. And Stefan was very successful in the coaching field and business and online courses fields. And one of the things Stefan used to do is people would come to him and say, Stefan, I want to be good at flipping, because he was mainly a flipper.
Yeah.
He always talked to me about his rent-to-own, which was a train wreck. That's a whole other big stories of Stefan, but he tried doing that and came to me for help. But on his flips, and so now he says, oh, people are seeing that I'm being successful doing what I'm doing. I think he did 30 of them at that time. and they come up to him and they say, teach me what you know. Like, do you get that, Marlou?
Of course. Yeah. For free. Teach me.
Teach me. Can I take you for a coffee? How about a coffee?
How about a dinner? How about a lunch?
A dinner too.
Yeah.
I actually, what got me into coaching is I had a guy, I really like him to this day, we're friends now. But when he first came to me, he says, because everyone was coming to me, teach me. I'll tell my story instead of Stefan's. Everyone's coming to me, teach me, Jon, teach me. Once I quit my oil sand job, people suddenly went, this guy's doing, nobody just walks away from that for nothing. And they started to pay attention because no one wanted to do anything with me when I was doing both. But as soon as I was full-time real estate, full-time rent to own, everyone was looking at me. And I remember this one guy, Jamie is his name. I hope he's listening to this because Jamie, you're awesome.
Well, you gotta be sharing it so he sees it.
And so Jamie contacted me, and he said, because I would go to the dinner, I would eat the dinner, and I would come home and I would go, well, I fed my belly, but my bank account, I'm a full-time real estate guy, but my bank account got nothing.
Right.
And as much as I can eat for free, I can't, I pay my mortgage. So going for dinner is not really good for me. So this Jamie guy contacts me, says, I want to take you for coffee. No, sorry.
Yep.
I want to take you for dinner. No, sorry. I'm going to take you for a really, really nice dinner. No, sorry. And he says, well, what gives, man? I'm doing everything I can. I just want to sit down with you, and I'm doing my best. And what do you want? I admire what you're doing. And then I said, well, Jamie, I get asked this a lot, and I just have to say no because it's going to take up an entire evening of my time, and I can be working on my other things during that time because I do work a lot. And I'm just going to politely decline. I'm sorry. And then I had this idea, because one of my mentors at the time would charge for his time to people.
Exactly, yeah.
I said, you know what, Jamie, you can pay me and you can take me to dinner, the nice one.
Right.
and I said, you could pay me before we go to the dinner. I think I was asking for $200 on top of that.
Okay.
Maybe 150. Jamie would know the details, I'm sure. And but it was not nothing, but it was something. And he said, well, why would I do that? I don't want to do that. What makes it, do you think that you're worth $200 to go to dinner with?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
What did you say?
I said, well, Jamie, you're going to send me the $200. We're going to go to dinner. And if at the end, and you're going to buy dinner, and if at the end you are not completely satisfied with the discussion we have, I'm going to give you your $200 back. So, we will have a nice meal either way.
Right.
So let's go. And he was a little hesitant, but he did it anyways. Took the jump. We went for that dinner. It was not about me. Everything was about him. He had a few rentals. I helped give him, I gave him a whole lot of ideas and ways that he could get his own next property because he couldn't get any more mortgages. That's why he wanted to talk to me. How do I get more?
Yeah.
And so I gave him lots of ideas, showed him ways, gave him contacts from people in my network that would help him with that and get to do more properties than what you could normally get. And I said to him the next day, I said, hey, Jamie, because I wanted to follow up with him. Were you happy with the results? Do I need to give you 200?
So did he give you the 200 though?
He gave it to me ahead of time. He was hesitant to give it to me ahead of time. And I said, I can't go to dinner with you and have you say, oh, I'm sorry, this isn't what I expected.
Money up front.
Meanwhile, I'm giving you everything.
Right.
I said, you can do this. If you're not happy with everything I give you, I'll just give it back. And then the next day I said, are you happy with everything that happened, Jamie? He says, oh my God, Jon, you gave me so many ideas. My mind was going all night after that. He says, I was talking to my girlfriend till the middle of the morning. I'm ready to go. I am good. I'm going to get the next one. Thank you, Jon. That was completely worth it. And then he went out and got another one and another one. And I think he bought the local paper in Fort McMurray and a couple other businesses. Oh, Jamie went I'm a big Jamie fan. Jamie comes to my bonfires in my backyard. He doesn't pay.
Oh, there you go. So
Although
what do
he
you
would
say?
always bring a bottle of scotch thinking he's got to pay to be there. But really, Jamie, you can just come. You don't need to bring
There you go,
anything.
Jamie,
No, we're
if you're
done. We're
listening.
done. We're good.
Maybe invite me to the scotch. Anyway, what would you say to those people that they just want free stuff?
I know a girl that says, if it's for free, it's for me. And 9 years of knowing her. Because I had some free giveaway stuff like free rent-own training. That's the basic one, and then one you could pay for with the contracts and all the rest of the stuff. That was old. It's not offered anymore. The new one's going to be even more comprehensive and complete beyond rent-own. But the old one had like a free component that was used as marketing to get people interested. And then, of course, if they like the free one, it makes sense to pay for the paid one. If you don't like the free one, don't.
Exactly.
But you'll never get anything accomplished staying in the free. Like, it's okay to test the waters, but if all you do is free content, free content, free content, you'll never get to the next level and you'll get stuck. When I gave out free content, I held a little bit of materials back.
Of course.
I think there's about 7 steps in a rent to own, most of them, and I gave them 5. So I held a couple of the ingredients back, but I gave enough so they could have a taste and say, do I like this or not? So free stuff can be a big time waste if you're stuck in it. There is value, like make sure that the person you're going to learn from is the right person if you're going to spend a little bit of money, because obviously the reason you're stuck doing only free things is because you're either cheap, or you don't value the other person's time. When you ask someone to do something for free, you're not valuing the other person. And that changes things. It changes things a lot. It changes the relationship. When someone doesn't value my time, do I want to do anything for them?
Yeah, it's not about what I can get and what you can give me, right? It's about I'm valuing my time now, right? I'm not worth $30 an hour or $25 an hour. I'm worth way more than that. So when people, even me, when people ask me for coffee, I say no all the time now.
Yeah, and that's also like when a coach.
It sounds very transactional though.
It can.
What do you think? What do you?
Sounds somewhat transactional, but you have to guard your time. We have our main resources are money and time.
That's right. You never get it back.
And that's it.
You spend your time. Right now, we're spending time with each other. After this, we're never gonna get this time back.
No, that's it. Recorded once. This is a moment in life at these ages, at these moments.
And I'm a big fan of Jon Simcoe, you know. So going with people who fear to take action, what would you advise them?
The fear of taking action, usually it's fear of the unknown. Everyone's scared of what they don't know.
That's right.
When the room is dark and you go to walk into it, you don't know if you're going to walk into a wall, trip on something on the floor. And so I would say that doing something you don't know is risky. Like going into that room with the dark and who knows what's going to happen. But when you can control the risks, there might be a wall you could walk into and a pillar you could bump into or something to trip on. And that might exist in that room, but it's dark and you don't know if you're gonna hit it or not. But you could remove that risk by just turning on the lights. You can see the wall, you're not gonna bump into the wall. You can see the thing on the floor, you're not gonna step on it. And so you can mitigate your risks of bumping into something in that example by turning on the light. So it's the fear of the unknown. So you got to get rid of the darkness. People would say to me, what you're doing is risky. All these real estate things, well, there's risk to it.
Yes.
But how risky they see it and how risky I see it are very different.
It's calculated risk.
I control as many risks as possible and then say, do I want to do this or not? That's why I like controlling the sale price on the property before. Keep in mind in that tenant first, the buyer first rent own example, We found them. They found the property. We set the ending price before we even bought the property.
Yeah, that's what's good about rent to own. You already know what you're going to exit. Yeah,
it's less.
Right.
Whereas you're going to buy a property, rent it for a couple years, and sell it for an unknown amount of money. This seemed to take the risk away. And so by taking the risk and not fearing what's unknown in the future, you take away those risks. It's no longer unknown, and it's just a straight shot. You just take action, go for it. There's nothing in your way. There's no wall to bump into. You can run. You don't need to walk no more. You see, there's no walls.
Yeah. What do you say about to those people who are on the fence? And what do you think they should start with if they want to be in real estate?
Say in real estate,
or even in business in general.
Business in general. Well, after you get your education and everything,
So you got to get your education first.
After you have yourself figured out, a little bit of a business figured out, the next thing you want to do is make your business card. I really, really believe this. You got to have whatever it is. When you have your business card, it becomes part of your identity. It's something you can give out. You're now living that business. You're not just studying and reading about it. That business card,
action.
That one action of having the business card,
Yes,
changes who you are, how you are. And then the other thing, the next thing too, is what got me away from the courses and the coaching, is I had a girlfriend at the time who said, "You've been talking about all this real estate stuff all this time. Why don't you just go incorporate and go make your business?" And that was what I needed to hear that at the time. She was sick of hearing me talk. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Look what I just learned. Look what else I just learned.
Right.
She says, well, go do some of it.
Do something.
Go see your lawyer and make your corporation. I said, oh, okay, but I don't have any money coming. And she's like, well, go do it anyways. And then the rest will follow. And she was 100% right about that. I made business card. I went and got the bank account associated. When you now have a corporation and a bank account, it's now about how many different ways can you open it up so money can flow into it. But nice. You need the business, the bank account, the business card. You got to take those actions at the very least, and now you have something to go out there and do. And when money comes, you have a place to put it. You have a place to direct it.
So what do you advise for people who could stay consistent? Consistency. How do you think they should kind of build their life to stay consistent on what they're doing? Because people, let's say they did, learning the business, getting the corporation, doing the business card, yada yada yada, and after that, sometimes they just fall apart.
I think some of the time you need to hold yourself accountable. Having a coach can help with that. Yes, or if you don't have a coach, you can do this with a friend. I wouldn't recommend a family member, but you can also have for a cheaper price or no price, you can have an accountability partner. Like I had a course I was taking, and I had a friend who doesn't even do real estate, but he's in business, and he said, "Hey, you want to take this course together?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, every day we'll do a module. Doesn't matter when you go through it during the day and in the night, we'll talk about it. We'll have a discussion. We will cement this knowledge that we just learned in our heads by talking about it. Then the next day, we'll do the next module, and sometime in the evening, at the same time, but you got to get your module done before that. So you got to set some deadlines. You can have someone like that. That meant I was like, I have to get this module done because we're going to talk about it tonight. And if I'm not get this module done, I'm disrespecting his time. And at the time, his time was worth way more than mine.
So that's a life hack right there. Get a accountability partner to stay consistent. And even with a gym, going to the gym, right? Sometimes it's good to bring a gym buddy, so then he kind of pushes you as well, and then you show up.
My buddy Sean Nelson all the time, and
shout out to Sean
Nelson. great guy and real estate investor, entrepreneur as well. And Sean and I are really good friends. And I've been spending a lot of time around him in the last kind of year and a half. Since moving back to British Columbia, a lot of what I've been doing, I've been building a lot of stuff with him. And one of the things Sean says, Sean's very disciplined, and that's an admirable trait that I admire in him because he has very high work ethic and very motivated. Someone asked me once how things are going with him. I said, this guy like outworks me. I can't complain about any of that. Like normally I'm the one doing more of the work. Mm-hmm. So I'm going, this guy's like a machine. I call him the machine. But every day he says to me, did you go to the gym last night? Did you go to the gym last night? He goes like 7 days a week, different body part. He goes religiously, regardless of how hard he worked that day. He still goes.
Awesome.
And having him say that every day, I think, I don't feel like going today. I don't want to run. I've been running lately. I'm sore. I'll take a rest. And rest is important, but
it is.
Like, I thought, he's going to say to me the next day, did you go to the gym? Mm-hmm. Did you get your run in? I played badminton too. How was badminton? Oh, I didn't go. Well, I don't want to say that to him because that's not the kind, he doesn't accept that excuse for himself.
Yeah.
I can't give him that excuse. Mm-hmm. So I have to be better because he asks me every day. I have to be accountable. Mm-hmm. But also a coach who's been there before. Those are simple examples of going to the gym consistently, doing something regularly like reading or studying on a regular basis. Those are great tips for that. But when you're trying to also build a business where you've never been in that sphere before, a coach will help you because they've gone through the path already. Yep. We started a line painting business, and I don't even know if I told you this, but we have a business coach for the line painting business.
No, I didn't know.
$5,000 a month.
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah, we got one. We started the business last year, and then in February this year, we hired one.
That's awesome, man.
And
good for you guys.
And it's made the difference.
Right?
It's made...
Coaches will collapse the time frame from you learning on your own. For example, you're going to learn on your own for 6 months or a year. Sometimes a coach could tell you in one phone call.
We have structures for employees, sales processes, all kinds of things that I know how to make these things, but this is the shortcut. Mm-hmm. And some of the things I know aren't going to necessarily work in that business, even though they worked in one. Mm-hmm. So having that coach who says, I've done this before, and there's a little bit of a formula, and we're both good at doing our homework.
Yep.
So as long as we do, because we have to report our business numbers to him, and he analyzes them, because without those, it's hard for him to coach.
Correct.
So now I'm forced.
Number never lies.
I am forced every week to put my numbers in because the coach is going to look at it. And if I don't put my numbers in, guess what? That's 1 hour a week with that coach. I can message him and he writes back the rest of the time. But that's $5,000 a month or $1,250 an hour.
Yeah.
Plus the extras times he does. But that's, if I don't have my homework done, I have just wasted $1,250 of my own money. If my homework is done and it's submitted to the coach, I'm going to get a return on that $1,250.
See, guys, even Jon, at his level, he's still getting coached. So
absolutely,
if you guys are on the fence of getting a coach, I don't know, you guys are going to be stuck at where you are until you take action.
That coach will help push you and make sure that your efforts aren't wasted.
Exactly.
Because that's another thing that can be very deflating, is putting all this effort into something and nothing happens or it doesn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. And so that coach will direct your energies on effective ways to do your business.
Yes.
There's always some low-hanging fruit in every business and some areas and goals that are going to take more work and even more work. But if you're trying to do that work that's at the highest level you might be leaving a lot of the low-hanging fruit that you should just go pick up really quickly. And that coach is going to tell you, go here, go get that, go do this. And as long as you're doing what they say, the results are usually gonna be there.
Exactly. And this is, I always ask my guests about this. How would you define success in your own word?
I believe success is doing what you want when you want.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's always been what it is for me. Whether that means jumping on a private jet and going on this fancy Instagram vacation, if that fires you up, then great. But if that's what you want to do, I don't. I was invited to go on a private jet out to Vancouver Island with a couple people I don't really like. And I said, like, just last year, and I just said, no thanks. I could go do that if I wanted to, but I want to do what I want. And the guy said, but it's the private jet. And I said, yeah, but it's not what I want to do. Yeah, I would love to fly on the jet, but not with those people. So
you
it's
pick
not,
whoever you want to spend your time with.
That's right. And I want to spend my time with quality people.
That's right.
My parents are still alive. I'd like to visit them lots. I cherish the moments. Spending time with family is amazing. Spending time with good friends. I've been friends with the same people almost my whole life. To be a core good friend of mine takes a decade or 20 years. I got friends of mine from 5 years old I'm still friends with.
Oh, wow.
And I'd like to check in with them. And that's how I like to spend my time. They all do different stuff. And they see what I do. And none of that matters. We spend our time together because we like each other. And there's no ulterior motive. They're not trying to borrow money from me. I'm not trying to use their credit because they have a job or something. We're just friends, and that's okay. And sometimes I want to spend my time not always financially motivated where that's the objective. You don't know this, Marlou, but I also have been spending a lot of time in my community. And I just finished organizing the town of Vernon's biggest fundraising event. It just happened 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And I organized a gigantic father-daughter ball.
No,
I don't even have kids. I don't have daughters like that. But I was asked
soon.
And so doing that, I was asked because I was good at raising capital, good at putting on events, and I was asked, would I like to spearhead this event for the community? None of this is money for me. I will have some volunteers who've done it other years. I never even went or attended. I have no reason to go to this in the past. And I said, sure, because I want to help my community out. All the money we raise goes to the parks and scholarships for the kids at the schools nearby. And when I'm in a community, I like to give back because I want people to say, I want Jon in my community.
And this is why this show is all about, is to give back to the community.
And like, I could spend this time running my own putting this ball on was a monumental amount of work and a huge task.
I mean, running an event is stressful.
This was like almost 300 people came to this.
Stressful.
And we're also like, some of them are big shots and want to be treated a certain way. And and so anyways, I put this event on and we superseded any other year's revenues, which all, again, I don't get $1 of it. No one does. It just goes right. I checked out the organization that I'm working with on. It's a Rotary Club. And so in that one, I decided these people are doing really good. No one's taking anything from it, and it's all going back to the community. So I like that. I will help these people out because I like what they're about. And so I chose to spend my time using the same skills, but not for me, for those around me.
And that's success.
Doing what I want when I want.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to do this for them because
success.
I want to.
Yes, sir. So we're coming to an end of this show. My brother, how can the hustle community help you out?
Well, the hustle community can help me out by letting me know if there's anything from this podcast that really resonated with you. something that I may have said that you want to expand upon a little bit, or have a bit of the discussion that I've been having with Marlou, but off, there can be some comments section, and I will be responding to them on
Yes,
Marlou's
sir.
podcast. And if you're further interested, I do have a newsletter that I'm going to be writing again. I gotten away from that, but it's this consistency is going to come back. We're going to have a monthly newsletter, again, jonsimcoe.com, and there will be some course offerings and more coming out. Again, this is going to be about 20 years of real estate knowledge baked into it. And I'm going to show you how to buy houses with bags of pierogies. I'm going to show you how to do flips with toonies. I'm going to show you how to wholesale with a toonie.
There you go.
And even how to Airbnb arbitrage on steroids. Like, this is, you make your Airbnb money, but I got ways for you to get in on the piece of the real estate while you're doing it from the owner. So, and all of these strategies that are coming in the new course don't require you to get any financing, because the speed of the deal, getting a mortgage, dealing with a broker, and having all your paper together takes time. This is the type of stuff that if the right buyer calls you and you have your contract ready and you run out, you can make instant, like just like that first rent to own deal. I got the call, we have a private house, I grabbed my purchase contract, went right over, made a deal. By the end of the day, had done the rent to own contracts and made $100,000.
Exactly.
But it took years of me being ready for that.
Wow. So don't forget to follow Jon. His link will be on the description down below. Guys, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in to the Real Hustle Show. Stay grinding, stay winning, and if you get value or you got value from this episode, don't forget to share it to your friends, your family, and your co-worker. My friend, my brother, thank you for coming on the show.
bet.
Stay hungry. Peace.